resources and technical assistance to schools throughout the United States and Canada. And we typically are very serious and we typically are very academic, but every once in a while we take a little bit of a break.
Like every time we do the podcast.
Well,
you make it sound like it just randomly happens.
We take a little bit of a break and we're a little bit less serious and we're a little bit less academic. And we have our school safety free period where we talk about things that are too absurd to be true, but they actually are true. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of absurdity today, but we'll end with absurdity. So the first thing I want to talk about today is probably not a bad idea, actually. This is more a concern with the way that it's being marketed as opposed to the way that it actually might be.
Okay.
So this is an article that I was reading that came out last week where we are told that canines, dog units in schools would deter school shootings, stop the flow of drugs and guns into schools. So it's essentially, and I'm quoting from the gentleman that was talking about this, that does clearly canine training. The shooting problem that we're having in schools and the drug problem we're having in schools would pretty much be eliminated by the use of dogs. So I was like, and now I'm a dog person and I love dogs, and probably in a few minutes my dog's going to bark and it's going to be disruptive. But I just thought, wow, that is a big ask.
Be eliminated.
Of dogs, that they would be eliminated.
And
he talks about, so let's look at it, hyperbole aside, let's look at the idea that, the belief that dogs could be more proactive instead of just reacting to active shooter and bomb threats. I don't really know what they use dogs for in an active shooter situation, to be honest. But they do talk about the idea that as students come in, you could have the dogs circulating, and they would be able to tell or alert if someone had a weapon or guns or drugs in their backpack. Which, again, theoretically, that sounds great. That's a lot of kids.
That's
and a
lot
dog.
Of dogs.
And the dog that's going, I can't take this. I mean, if you've been in a middle school, there's a lot happening that I'm not sure that dog, well, I don't know if the dog could handle that.
Well, but I think it also speaks to this problem that we see all the time. Well, we could just solve this problem if we had bulletproof drywall installed in every classroom in America.
Yeah.
We have schools in this country where they don't have enough teachers to teach the kids, let alone to say we're going to have a canine unit and a handler in every school.
Well, according to this article, canine teams could be the universal solution to school safety improvements.
I want to see a
right underneath our nose.
I want to see a canine
dog. I want
to
see a dog supervised dismissal.
I want to see a dog supervise and make sure that no kids get hit by school buses.
So the dog just goes like this.
No,
don't.
I want to see a canine unit help a student who's being targeted for bullying.
He bites the other kid. Oh. Stop picking on my friend. And I don't want to minimize that because
we should just get rid of all the teachers and have them all be dogs. This seems like a very simple solution. And let's not stop there. Let's get rid of the kids too. No students, no teachers, just dogs all the time.
Well, they do. Don't they have that puppy bowl for the
puppy
Super Bowl?
I want every K-12 school in America to be replaced with puppies.
And trying to, yes, there is a value. And I do think, we have seen dogs in schools, therapy dogs and that sort of thing. And frankly, I feel bad that I missed out the time when I could have taken my dogs to school, if I'm being completely honest. Because I always wanted to do that.
Standpoint.
I always wanted to have a day where all the kids brought their dogs to school. And then saner heads prevailed of we will have a 300 dog fight. And so it didn't happen. But, so I do think there is a role here. But I just think it's a bit of an overselling to say that this is the thing that will do it.
It is the same concern that I have when we say we're just going to add more SROs. We're going to add more law enforcement officials to our schools. Those things might be helpful. We're going to have more cameras. We're going to have more security interventions. We're going to have all those things. Those might be helpful. But none of those things is a magical solution. Even a magical puppy dog would not be a magical panacea of a solution to our school safety problems.
It's just not said it's a bipartisan solution because you're not trying to put firearms or armed security guards in schools. You're putting a canine team in a school, which is an armed law enforcement entity. So I don't quite understand, unless they're just dropping the dogs off.
That's the luck.
and going,
Have a good day.
we'll be back later after the dog has solved this problem. So please, all you canine handlers out there, please do not be mad at us. But you have to admit there is a bit of overzealous selling happening there.
I want to see a dog yell at some 7th graders who just need to get their hands off each other. I want to see a dog come up and go, "Hey, cut it out,
They
get the
take
class."
their little mouth and they pull your sleeve down so that you stop touching each other.
Get your hands off each other. Get your hands off.
Okay, so that's one that I think is overselling. Now we can talk about one that is just not going to fix the problem that you think you're fixing. Okay. So this is a school in Illinois that had a threat that was found in the bathroom, which we know a significant percent. If you're going to find a threat in a school, at least 55% of the time it's going to be in a bathroom. And so this threat was found in a bathroom. And so this district wanted to be proactive.
No bathrooms.
And to fix this, no doors on stalls in bathrooms. So they removed the doors from the stalls. And now of course, it was a girls' bathroom. And so now we are in a situation where girls are bringing blankets from home to hang up in front while they're using the facilities, or sort of a cultural understanding of they put their shoes in front of the stall so people know not to go look into the stall. And I have to say, I came into a school as a principal where they had taken the doors off, and that was one of the very first things I did was put these doors back on. Because in that particular case, it was smoking. Well, a kid's going to smoke whether you have the stall door or not, and the only person you're traumatizing or inconveniencing is the good kids that aren't doing that.
Dogs.
Yes.
Dogs would just knock the seat. You'd be smoking, and the dog would go, no. Just knock it out of your hand.
The dog would patrol I don't know. So here's the question. So the question is,
I have a legitimate question.
Do bathroom stall doors cause a significant risk?
Is it the stall door the only thing that's keeping you from writing notes and blowing it up? I
would love to do a threat, but there's no door, no stall.
Yeah, I was going to leave it behind.
These walls on either side.
But I can't, because
can't write on those. Yeah. I only could do it the one that was facing.
I don't.
Me. Yeah, and so they also took some other additional precautions, which was to conduct random searches and use handheld metal detectors.
Random searches of students?
Well, they don't have a stall door, so you could just walk right in and do it, I guess. No, I don't know where they were doing.
They were searching the students?
Random searches of students and utilizing handheld. So, to recap, we have a situation where there was a threat that was made, and so in order to make sure that no one else feels disenfranchised and disconnected and angry at the school, they're going to take off the stall doors, search you, and scan you with the metal detector, because that will make you feel more connected to the school.
Next week, peeing in buckets.
Yeah.
No, I have a question. It's a snarky question. This happened in a American public school, not a juvenile detention facility.
This was in a regular old school.
Yikes. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and that's in our school safety news one. We talked about the trauma to students. Well, this is clearly not a trauma to students. But what kind of a message?
There's a cost.
Well, what kind of a message are you sending to students that this is such an awful place that essentially a murderer on death row gets more privacy going to the bathroom than you do as a student? And I can tell you, having spent a significant amount of time with middle school and high school students, in particular middle school, you will have some serious, you think I'm being funny, but I'm not, some serious bowel and urinary tract infection issues for kids that flat out will not go to the bathroom for eight solid hours. And I've seen it. And I mean, clearly that's not the point here, but how do we get from point A to point B in this particular one? So that segues. I'm very good at the segues today. This segues to our final of how did we get from point A to point B. This is a high school baseball coach in Utah who has been placed on administrative leave for just trying to do what every coach should want to do, which is we want to play. We want the game to go on. So he poured gasoline on the baseball field, about 20 gallons of gasoline, and then burned the field, lit it so it would dry up the field. So yeah,
Wait,
it was burning off the water. You pour the gasoline, in case you don't know how to do this, and
No,
you
I don't
light
know how
it,
to do
and
this.
it burns off the water.
Is that what happened? You think?
Fortunately,
You think that's what happened with the Cuyahoga River? They were trying to burn off the water.
Unfortunately, there was a problem in that people complained that the field smelled like gas.
Can't imagine why.
Not surprisingly. And now they have closed the field because the health department is trying to figure out what the damage was, how much gas leached into the groundwater. And so they're going to have to dig up the field to see how far the gas has penetrated.
I thought this was going to be like he got mad and burned off.
Oh no, this is I'm trying to play. We're trying to play. So now
They literally make
well, so let's
things for this.
let's take a few steps back here
Tarps.
administratively. At one point, did we not, as administrators, go, and by the way, if you ever get the urge to light up the field,
You can't.
please don't. I mean, so I guess we did not necessarily.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
But now I want you to
It's
know.
like, you're watching Veep, aren't you? Where turns out that Jonah's married to his stepsister, and his campaign staff is like, "How did we not know this?" And like, it's not on the standard questionnaire.
Why are you doing a spoiler?
Oh,
I
sorry,
haven't seen it.
But I suppose it's not on the standard questionnaire. It's in the very first episode of the new season. In the standard questionnaire, do you intend to light the field on fire? Yes or no?
Or maybe just ask, like, hey, I got 20 gallons of gasoline.
I'm thinking.
Just wanted to run this by you to get your take on this.
Is dry it
But
off.
now surprisingly, it says this is not an original idea by this guy. In 2011.
He's done it before?
No, in 2011, a Little League field. And you can go on YouTube if you'd like to see what it looks like when you burn your Little League field with gasoline. In 2010, there was a field in Alberta that was shut down because they soaked it, in this particular case, with diesel fuel.
Couldn't get any jet fuel.
In 1986, a college baseball coach tried to burn the field, water off of the field, until the fire department came by and told us to knock it off. But
It was the 80s.
way back in 1929, and since you like baseball and it's been opening week, I thought this was very apropos. In Detroit's Mack Park in 1929, they had a wooden grandstand that could seat up to Mack
This is the
Park.
Negro Leagues.
Yes,
Yeah.
they could seat up to 10,000 people. They were supposed to play on July 7th, 1929, but after 2 days of rain, field's too wet. So the guy that constructed the stadium doused the field with gas, lit it up, and had stored the extra cans of gasoline under the wooden stadium.
Wooden bleachers.
And apparently a carelessly tossed cigarette ignited the gasoline on the field, and the fire quickly spread to the stored cans of gas. But 220 people were injured when the grandstand collapsed.
Jesus. No, I did not know that.
So there you go. And the last line in the article says, "Just use kitty litter, everyone."
They also sell Turfus. It's like literally kitty litter, basically, for this
So, now, is that a school safety problem? Yes. Raging fires?
Well,
bad.
Sure.
On the baseball field? Still don't like it. But, it is sort of amazing that you managed to get a fire hazard, a environmental hazard, all rolled into one poor decision.
And why were you doing that hazard?
Yep. So again, the point being,
I think it sort of, I hate to incorrectly use this idiom, but it begs the question, what else has that dude done that we haven't caught him? Right? What other lapses of judgment has that person had?
But I guess karma has come full circle, because now we're digging up the field anyways. Maybe we'll put new drainage tiles in when we're done digging it all up. But seriously, think about the cost.
Yeah.
To the school. What, are you going to file an insurance claim? So, this is very indicative of when you have, and so here I will do the takeaway if I can be serious for a minute. When you have people working in supplemental, in other capacities who don't have training, have not necessarily had those kind of discussions, and aren't necessarily thinking the same way that we might think as educators. So it really just speaks to, if we are making really poor choices about burning up the field, what kind of choices is this individual going to make when there's an injury or some sort of violent event or whatever? So it really does speak to the fact that, number one, school safety incorporates lots of crazy things, and also the idea that you may think the only people responding or making decisions that compromise safety will be between 8 and 3, and that's not the case either.
Yes, that is an excellent point. Now, I do have a programming question. How did you come across this story? Is that in your alerts?
Yeah,
like
I
it's
don't
scooped up in the
remember how
alerts?
I found it. But I just thought, you know what? That is just perfect.
That is a good one.
I was especially like, well, I guess you could burn the field. I mean, but that's not the burning field like in the day when farmers used to burn their field. This is like, I'm burning the field. And then, of course, it just, escalated from there. And then I thought it was interesting that you have this long history.
Long history of burning the baseball
burning
fields.
the baseball field.
I like to hold myself out as being a baseball fan, but apparently I am not, because I was unaware of this
different
storied
than you
history.
say, we're going to burn this place to the ground. I think there's a slang sort of like, or the team is on fire. I mean, there's lots of fire-related puns you could make here that I think have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode, as per usual. Please do, rate, review, and subscribe if you're joining us from a podcast standpoint. If you're here on YouTube, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can check out the other videos that we have. If you have a colleague that should have been watching this or listening to this and wasn't, you can always share it with them. If you're looking for other resources and information and training that we do, formal training where we're a little bit more serious and a little bit more academic, you can always head to our website, which is www.eschoolsafety.org. And if you have any questions, or if you have your own school safety story that is too absurd to be true, but it actually is true, you can send that to us at info@eschoolsafety.org. So,
and remember, drying out the field, use kitty litter.
Stick with the kitty litter. There you have it. So thank you very much. Because I think there I'm still going.